Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com. Don't adjust your monitor. I am wearing a shirt and tie. Kind of a big day, so I thought I would get dressed up for it. Today, I will finally show you what I've been talking about, releasing my own brand of watches, my own watch. I know everybody really just wants to see what it is, so I'm gonna cut for 2 seconds, show you the watches, we'll come back here, and then we'll go into a full review. So here is your 2 second look, and we'll get deeper into it in a minute. Okay, so now that you've seen them, you can see immediately, you know what it looks like. It looks exactly like an SKX. I want to just give a little bit of backstory story to it before we, get into the full dive of checking out the models. Now, I had mentioned that when I decided to launch my own brand, I was told years ago by someone I trust in the industry that you really need to launch your own brand. And I kept it in the back of my mind. And I was getting closer when I started into the parts market to really, solidifying, and I was going to get into designing something. And then, as I mentioned, when I was in Basel this year, I did learn that the SKX was being discontinued. For me, a bread and butter watch, for financially and business-wise. So on the train ride from Basel back to Zurich, it just hit me. I was like, well, obviously the writing's on the wall. You know the watch, you need to create. You just need to keep the legacy alive, but it needs the updates and improvements that everyone has been asking for. It needs a sapphire crystal. It needs a ceramic loomed bezel. It needs a solid end link bracelet. It needs drilled lugs. What else does it need? Hand winding and hacking, updated, upgraded movement. When I got into your watch your way thing, a lot of you asked for upgraded movements. While I have the capability to do it, it adds such an expense that it blows the pricing out of the water, and it's just something that I wasn't going to broach. I need to start from the bottom up and design the watch with the movement in it already. At the same time, I'm looking at it's now starting to stockpile thousands of parts for SKX watches. I have all these bezels, inserts, hands, bracelets, crystals, soon dials, chapter rings, blah, blah, blah. I need them. The SKX disappearing. What the heck am I doing with all these things? So obviously the watch had to be backwards compatible to the SKX. So every part that I sell will work. I'm wearing both of them on these watches. Ba-ba. And that was of extreme importance. And then any other aftermarket from any other vendor you might wish to purchase, like a strap code bracelet, something. I won't mention any other modding houses, but if it fits an SKX, it will fit the Islander as it is being called. One last thing before we get into it. So like 2 months ago, I was dealt what I would call a blow or a wrinkle. All of a sudden, Seiko announced the revamped Seiko 5, which I'd seen briefly in Basel. And then I start really examining it when it's coming out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're basically revamping the SKX, hand winding and hacking, with their 4R36. I'm like, oh, this is what am I gonna do? And then I started to realize non-ceramic bezel insert, hard Lex crystal, 100-meter water resistance, push-pull crown. So I was like, thank goodness the market for the SKX will live on. And then I saw the pricing of the new 5s, and I'm going to still be probably around the same price or a little bit less, and I'm going to give you more. Not to knock the new 5s. I really like them. I think they're really cool. And again, it's great that they're revamping everything, but it might just be helping my case a little bit more. Without further ado, let us dive into the Islander. So folks, I present to you the Islander. That is what I'm calling it. It is etched on the back. We'll look at that in a minute. To start with, there's just two versions. They are the same except for the bezel, your standard 60-minute dive bezel and your 12-hour dual time bezel. This one is mine, so I will review it in full, and I'll just show you that one in a minute. So, the sizes, specs, and most things, I already covered for the most part. You shouldn't be, nothing should be a surprise. It is 42 millimeters in diameter. It is 14 thick to a flat sapphire crystal, 46 millimeters on the tip to tip. 22 millimeter lug, you will notice it is a drilled lug. So bracelet changes are a snap. I mentioned the sapphire crystal. Inside is an SIII, which is Seiko Instruments, NH36 movement, hand winds, hacks. We do have a screw down crown, obviously, because we are 200 meters water resistant. So you can wind it, you can pull out the crown, it stops the second hand, you can set the time, push it back in, screw it down to get your 200 meters of water resistance. Let's come in a bit on the dial. It's really a standard dive dial. We have automatic 200 on the bottom, and then my company logo. I decided to not go any further with branding on the dial. Just a small nod to the company. Classic hands, classic bezel style. Remember, coin edge, sub style, whatever you want, they will all fit. Any of the 007 parts will fit. Standard crown. Let us check out the case back. I'll actually undo the flip lock. Whoops. You can see the flip lock, and if I can just focus on the case back, 200 meter sapphire island watch. Name of the watch is the Islander. This is, if you're uninitiated, that is an etching of Long Island with approximately where I am. It fit well there. There's a little divot in the island at the top here, so I couldn't push the logo much more to the left, but if you're a Long Islander, you will certainly appreciate it. You can see here is a solid screw down case back with nice notches for a tool just in case. A little bit of detail on the bracelet. You can see it is a solid end link. And there you go. It's a nice beefy spring bar. Solid links, and then we do have screwed links. So when you need to size it, or if you need to size it, which most people will, all you need is a small screwdriver, unscrew it, and remove the links that you don't need. The clasp does have a 3-position micro adjustment for, wrist swelling in the summer, shrinking in the winter. It is a double, I covered this already, but I'll show you again, it is a double push button deployant with a really good fold over. And it is done in green super lume. We'll dim the lights in a second and we'll check it out. You know what? Why don't we just do it now and get it over with? There you go. What was important to me was have everything glow extremely well. So you have the hands, the markers, you can see the second hand there, the bezel. Even my logo is loomed. I just think it looks terrific. Come on, easy to read. I mean, this one's just been sitting on the side for a little bit. He wasn't even exposed to the bright light before, and he's still going strong, the dual time bezel. But looks awesome, easy to read. Obviously, this was a requirement of what I was doing. I have not mentioned price yet, just occurred to me. So I'm going to be putting these out at $2.99. It might just be an introductory price. I'm going to see how things go. I'm trying to keep pricing along the line relatively flat. There are going to be other variations, but we're going to be $2.99 now for either or. There are more coming. Are there smaller ones coming? There might be. You'll have to just wait and see. Let's check out the dual time. So dual time, guys, it's the same thing. It just has a dual time bezel. So what is a dual time bezel? Well, it's 12 hours marked. And you basically will read the hour hand against the bezel. So here it's set to 0, right? So if I read to the bezel is 2, the hour hand's 2, it's almost 2 o'clock. If you want the second time zone to be, here I go with using England again. I don't know, they're 4 hours ahead or 5 right now because of daylight savings. We'll say they're 5 hours ahead of us. It's almost 7 o'clock there. So I look at the hour hand, I look at the bezel, almost 7. In 2 hours, it'll be almost 9. So that's how a dual time bezel works. Technically not a GMT bezel. There is no GMT hand. GMT hand would revolve once a day. Nothing really makes less sense to me than a 24-hour bezel on a 12-hour watch. The crystal, as you can see, is blue AR on the inside. I think you can see a little bit of the blue tinge when I go like that. But that is about it. I'll show you how this guy looks on my wrist, because this is the one that I took for myself that I've been wearing. So I don't have to tell you, it's going to wear perfectly. As I said, I've been wearing a prototype. This is not the one I just showed you. This is a prototype. It doesn't have an etched back, but this was a proof of dial or whatever. I've been wearing it for a long time, several months already, and I love it. So I'm sure that the real production version like this obviously fits me fine. 6 3/4 inch wrist. I had to remove 3 links. So like standard, you're going to look at like 7.5, 7 3/4 inch wrist. If you want to go with a heavier duty bracelet or a different style, again, any of your 007 bracelets will fit. I've already confirmed this as much. But there she is. It's my watch. I wear it below the bone. I love it. It looks great. Perfect. So before we close, just want to say I'm really excited about this. Extremely excited when I opened the boxes and I checked them out. I'm really thrilled with the way they came out. I do, of course, realize not a ton of ingenuity going on design-wise, but what there is filling a need in the market for a great diver with all the upgrades that you guys already want, and you just purchase it and it's done. I do have way more planned for these style cases, and I also have other cases already under production for other designs. So there certainly will be more coming to my yet unnamed house brand. Right now, it really is just a house brand. So, guys, this has been Mark from longarmwatch.com showing you the Islander. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below, and I'll be sure to address them as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.